You need to avoid moving to Charleston, South Carolina unless you can deal with these 10 things. Welcome back, everybody. If you're new here, I am Bill, your favorite YouTubing Charleston realtor, and I make videos that help people make better decisions when moving to, from, or around the greater Charleston area. So if you're into that sort of thing, go ahead and subscribe down below. And if you're looking to make a move in the next 3 days to 3 years, I'm a local real estate agent and I can help you. And to make it easy for you, just click the link down below and you can jump right onto my calendar for a no obligation discovery call. Moving to Charleston may seem like one of the most amazing things ever, but there are 10 things that if you can't deal with this, you should avoid moving here at all costs. And number one, we're talking about the biggest thing, and those are hurricanes. Usually there's a long time before they form and they get here. So on the bright side, you do have a lot of time to prepare for them, but that doesn't make them any less destructive. Now, of course, the closer you are to the coast, the more destruction, winds, and rain you're typically going to see. But remember, yeah, you can move up into Somerville, but that storm is the size of the state. So it's going to die down once it hits the coast, but you're still going to get significant amounts of wind and rain up there. Now, if you're living right on the coast, then you've also got that other side to deal with the velocity of the waves and the high tides coming in. And the best thing to do about this, if there is a storm coming, is just keep watching the local news. Don't concentrate on the national news. The local news is going to tell you everything you need to know, and then you can make the decision whether you want to stay and ride it out or you and your family are going to evacuate. Next up along those same lines is the flooding, and more specifically, we're gonna talk about the flood zones. So there are 3 main flood zones here in the Charleston area. There's X, AE, and V or VE. Now, X is the lowest risk, so if you are super concerned about flooding, like this is where you want to live, it's X, lowest risk, and federally backed mortgages typically do not require you to carry flood insurance in Zone X. Now, once you get up into AE, technically it is defined as high risk, but it is the lowest risk where you are required to carry flood insurance. Now, that's gonna vary from house to house, and there's an elevation certificate, but typically I'd say in here, you're generally looking at about under $1,000 a year for a typical home, but it can go up from there. And then if you're right along the coast on one of the beaches, then you're gonna be in that V or VE, which is high risk, but then it does have the added waves and the water velocity risk into it there, so that cost is going to be even higher. And sticking on the topic of weather, but don't worry, we're not only talking about weather. This is the last time we're going to talk about anything weather related in this video, but this is the humidity. Now, I think this goes without saying, but it gets hot and humid here in the summer, with the hottest and most humid months are going to be in July, August, and September, where the high humidity during the day can reach 90%. So while our temperatures typically don't get over 100, we typically stay in the 90s as our highs. But that feels like temperature when that humidity stacks on top of it. It's not rare to see that hit 110 to 115 on days during the summer. Winter doesn't last for 8 months like it does some places in the country. We have about 2 months, it gets cold, but it doesn't get super freezing, and then we get into spring. Okay, so now that we've got the weather behind us, let's talk about something that's very important to a lot of people that are moving to Charleston or South Carolina, and that are the schools. Now, according to studies by both US News and World Report and Wallet Hub, they both ranked South Carolina at 42 out of 50 in education. And I think it's pretty widely known that South Carolina education system isn't the greatest when it comes to these rankings. But now there is a bright note in here, because here in the Charleston area, in North Charleston, we actually have the Academic Magnet High School, which is currently ranked as the number 8 high school in the entire country by US News and World Report, and of course the number 1 high school in all of South Carolina. Over 75 school districts in the state of South Carolina, and here in Charleston we have 3 of them. We have Charleston County, which ranks as number 10, Dorchester District 2 ranks as number 12, and Berkeley County ranks as number 29. Rounding out the first half of this list, we have tourists. Now, I like to file this under the small price to pay to live where people like to vacation. Now, Charleston is an extremely touristy town. We have consistently been ranked the #1 city to visit by both Conde Nast and Travel and Leisure magazines for like the last 11 or 12 years. So with that comes a lot of tourists. This can make those places like downtown and the beaches extremely busy during the year. So if you're someone who likes to go, especially out to eat downtown during the summer, it can be a lot harder to get reservations at those times because there are so many tourists here throughout the entire week. It's not just on the weekends. When I have to go downtown or to one of the touristy areas and drive, now downtown driving can be hard enough, which we'll get to in a later point, spoiler alert, but these tourists are walking around, they don't know where they are, they're looking at the beautiful architecture and their head's on a swivel. And sometimes they will just walk out into the middle of the street without paying attention. Okay, so this next one, I guess, might fall under weather. Not really though, but it's Charleston's 5th season. So we have spring, summer, fall, winter, and pollen season. And if you really want to get into it, there's 6 seasons because then there's second pollen season. Now, I never had allergies until I moved here to Charleston. And once winter is coming to an end, we're gonna get these like freak warm days. And it's wonderful because winter's over and it's warm, but that means that all of the plants are gonna start blooming. One day, you're gonna wake up and your car and everything is going to be covered in a yellow dust. Before that happens, you need to get to Costco and buy a giant jug of Allegra, because even if you've never had allergies, these are going to get to you. Now, what I mean by pollen season and second pollen season, what can happen is after everything blooms, the temperature is gonna drop again, and then it's gonna warm up again. And then all these plants are going to bloom again, or different plants are going to bloom. And you've washed your car, you've power washed your house already, and then everything is yellow again. So you're gonna go back to Costco and get more Allegra.
Yeah, they were all yellow.
So this next one we're getting into, I would have to say is probably my big one that I can't stand at all, and that is the bugs. If you ask anybody who lives in South Carolina what the state bird is, they're gonna tell you it's the mosquito. But mosquitoes aren't the only bugs that can pester you here. Something that I think is actually more annoying than mosquitoes are what we call no-see-ums. It's basically just another term for a biting gnat. You'll see in just a second, we have a lot of different terms for bugs just to make them kind of sound better. So no-see-ums equals a biting gnat. And they're usually out around the same time as the mosquitoes at dawn and dusk. You can't see them, hence the name, but you can feel them and you can see when they're swarming around, you can kind of see them. Now, a trick here, if you've seen it in a previous video, is the hemp's lotion. And the no-see-ums don't like the smell of it, so they stay away. So you just kind of have to layer up on your bug repellents. But we're not done with bugs just yet because there's 2 more we're gonna talk about. The first one are termites. Because we live in a humid, moist climate, termites thrive here, and that scares a lot of people when they're going to buy a home. However, what we have are called termite bonds. It's like an insurance policy of sorts on your home, protecting you from termites. It doesn't say that they're not going to find your home, but they come out and they inspect the home every year to make sure that they haven't found it. They leave either bait traps or they treat the home so that they don't get into your walls and make all of the wood look like cardboard. And if all of that wasn't enough, next we have palmetto bugs, which is our fancy term for flying cockroaches.
Oh, hell no!
But don't worry, they don't just like fly around, they more so like glide if they're coming from a high area to a lower area and they land on you. I'm just joking, but no, palmetto bugs are cockroaches. They're pretty big, you're going to see them, they're going to get in your house, you're going to freak out, but please don't freak out, just kill it, let it go. You might see a couple throughout the year. You'll know if you have an infestation, but if you just see one here or there, chances are it was just a stray that followed you in, rode on the coattails of your dog, or just found its way in your house. Number 8 on our list has to do with sports, and there are no professional sports teams here in Charleston. So when it comes to going to professional sports games, if you want to go see an NFL game, the closest is going to be a little over 3 hours away in Charlotte to see the Panthers. If you want to see an NBA game or a Major League Baseball game, you've got to go to Atlanta, which is about 5 hours away, and they've got football as well. And then if you're an NHL fan, you've got to go 4 hours up to Raleigh to see the Hurricanes. But that doesn't mean we don't have sports here. We have a lot of awesome minor league sports. My favorite is go to the River Dogs games. They are the single A affiliate for the Tampa Bay Rays, and they are 3-time consecutive champions of the Carolina League. And they're also co-owned by none other than local celebrity Bill Murray. If you're a hockey fan, we have the Carolina Stingrays, which play in North Charleston, and they are an ECHL affiliate of the Washington Capitals. And for the soccer fans, we've got the Charleston Battery, who play in the USL Championship League. All right, so we've saved the biggest 2 for last. These are the things that people complain about the most when they move here, and we're gonna start with traffic. And I'm gonna start by saying what I say in all my videos when I mention traffic, and that is that traffic is not as bad here as it is in bigger cities. But we are not a big city. We're like a medium city. So we have traffic that's slightly over what a medium city should have. All right, but here's the thing. If you look online, everyone's a city planner, and they say that the population has grown and the infrastructure hasn't caught up. Okay, I'm going to agree with that, but however, there is a different part of that there are a lot of bridges here that can't just be widened or add another one that easily. So that does play into a lot of the traffic, and then if there's an accident on one of those bridges, good night. It's just gonna shut down like half the town. And then if you are moving like north into Somerville and working downtown, like that's when you're gonna see most of your traffic. Rush hour is gonna be pretty bad, but not as bad, like I said, as these bigger cities. Unless there's an accident, you're still going to be moving. It's not gonna be like 6-lane gridlock like you would find in Atlanta or somewhere else. And that brings us to the biggest one, and that is housing costs. Now, being a realtor, I'm pretty attuned to this, and I hear a lot of people say like they can't move to Charleston because they can't afford it. So I'll be the first to tell you, Charleston is not cheap, especially if you want to live within the city of Charleston or very close to downtown. The median value right now in Charleston County is $615,000. Now, if you want to be close and keep the cost a little bit lower, look right into West Ashley within the 526 loop, where the median value there is $510,000, but you're going to get something very small and significantly older. Now, other areas right around Charleston, James Island sits right at that $615,000 median price, but the second you go over the Ravenel Bridge into Mount Pleasant, the median price jumps to $915,000. And what about living downtown on the peninsula? Well, the southern end of the peninsula has a $1.6 million median price, and the northern half of the peninsula is around $785,000. Now, if you're looking for more affordable areas, I suggest you look a little bit further north into Somerville and Goose Creek. Somerville's median price is $390,000, and Goose Creek is $319,000. Now, to compare all of these numbers, the median price of a home in the entire United States right now is $430,000. So let me know, were any of those deal breakers for you? If not, go down, click that link, jump on my calendar, and let's have a discovery call to see which area is best fit for you with your needs and your budget. And go ahead, click on this video right here because I really think you're gonna like it, and I'll see you on the next one.